in February, then next 3 years, this amount they can use. If still it remains unused, then this will go to government account. That means unspent amount will not remain with this escrow account, but it will get transferred to Government of India account. With this new rule, companies may carry forward their CSR budget up to 3 years, in which case we feel that the current gap of 32% between actual and prescribed spend, as discussed, may actually widen further, because companies may defer the spend and transfer into an escrow account. In case if the corporate is unable to utilize the CSR spend in the given timeline of the next 3 financial years, the unutilized CSR amount will be transferred to government fund, as I said. Now, if we look into further, there has also been a new addition to the scope of CSR. They have further widened the horizon. Historically, it's been seen that Indian companies have been spending a minimum amount, approximately 1% of GDP, on research and development activities. Now, government is focusing to improve this investment on R&D activities. They have made a provision. With the new addition to the scope of CSR, 2% can be spent on incubators funded by the central or state government or any agency of a central or state public undertaking. Contribution to public funded universities, to IITs and other research bodies or Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Electronics and IT for research, science and technology, engineering and medicine can be counted as CSR spend. No formal notification has come out from MCA yet, but this provision is existing. This move could give a much needed push to the research and development work in India. However, there is no mention of this being directed only towards social research and sustainable development. Also, this widening of a scope may have an adverse impact on the funding of current important focus areas. They are listing like primary education and health. Companies may now prefer to contribute towards higher education institutions for R&D incubation. So there is likely to be a drastic shift in focus. If we look into the SDGs, that is our Sustainable Development Goals, the basic aim of United Nations behind SDGs is leaving no one behind. And these SDGs were notified based on September 2015 United Nations General Assembly, which are applicable up to 2030. They are part of 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and they include 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Now, building on the principle of leaving no one behind, the agenda emphasizes a holistic approach to achieving sustainable development for all. So it is a very noble cause behind. Now, these 17 sustainable goals are no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace and justice, and strong institutions. If we just look into these 16, nothing is left out in globe. So everything is covered, and that's why the theme is leaving no one behind. All living beings, whether in water, on earth, anywhere. And the last and very important, which is collaborative partnership to achieve the above 16 goals. So collaboration and partnership is part of sustainable goals. Pictorially, these are the goals. I'm sure most of us are aware of. And these undergo review and targets are revised every 5 years. This is brief about SDGs. Now, I'm grateful. Dr. Mona, she did my work very simple. She has shared 2-3 documents. I have taken reference of them. I feel it will not be fair time-wise if we just discuss those points, but I will just summarize. 80% of the top 100 companies for sustainability and CSR during previous reporting year, that is 2021, incorporates the sustainable development goals in their responsible business actions. So that means if we focus top 100, 80 organizations are doing this activity. So that means 20% among top are still to come up. But there is a good news. Government of India has already notified BRSR, that is Business Responsibility and Sustainability Report, and provisions are very clearly defined in templates issued by Government of India. And template is uniform for top 1000 listed organizations, mandatorily to start reporting this financial year onwards. So that means whosoever have not done till now, they are bound to begin from April 22 and keep on doing consistently. That is a very good initiative by government to make it mandatory. The top 25 companies also map their business goals with respect to sustainable development goals. So that means awareness is increasing. Now linkages are also there. And in fact, shortages of qualified and experienced professional is one of the issue which is being triggered by various organizations at different levels to bridge the gap. If we talk in 2021 for the first time, Godrej Consumer Goods has topped the CSR ranking. I have already shown that one list, followed by consistent star performers Infosys and Wipro. So Godrej Consumer Goods, that means manufacturing. Second and third, they are IT dominantly. So manufacturing are also now doing exceedingly well as far as sustainability goes. In addition to this, 2 Tata companies appear in the top 10 overall. IT is the top performing industry for CSR during previous year, and that will also continue. IT, financial institutions, service industries, they in fact, because of their scope and nature of job, they have a bit advantage addressing the provisions of sustainability and sustainable development goals. Now, if we talk about sports and the sustainable development goals linkages, this is very well done and document is available with Dr. Mona. I'm grateful she shared with me also. It's an overview outlining the contributions of sports to each and every sustainable development goals.
Sir, we have shared this document on the Sports Collaborative platform as well as the core group. It is universally and openly accessible to all the core members in both the groups.
That's really fantastic.
Yeah, so they can just refer it again because of constraints of time, and it will be re-forwarded to them because now the context is well placed.
Correct. So that's why I have just referred it and given, in fact, this is my computer hyperlink. If I have to open, it will open. So I will not open. Second thing is the very nice initiative by government of Gujarat, Gujarat Sports Policy 2022-27. That means just declared. That has also brought out very conducive provisions and favorable provisions for sports. This policy is dedicated sports policy, and This is also available, and Dr. Monaji, she also shared with. So kindly refer these documents. There are a lot of very positive triggers and informations available to us all. Now, again, going back, I said while previously sharing that what are the activities NTPC as organization in sports, dedicated to sports are doing. So these are some of the glimpses. And in fact, archery, the focus, they are sponsoring up to international stage. So starting from the field work, from areas surrounding its various locations countrywide, is a mandatory provision in policy to carry out every year rural sports meet by each of its unit countrywide. It is done, and these are some of the just representative pictorials, real life pictures to just show how and how many varieties of things are there. This is not exhaustive, this is just indicative. So if we see, traditional sports are also being sponsored by organizations. First itself, if we talk archery, it has become international, but it is traditional sports of India. In addition to India, Korea, it used to be there from since thousands of years. I could have two mention, Korea and India. And now it has become international event, international sports. So likewise, there are many traditional Indian sports which promotes team working, and they have potential to become international. The second one is Kabaddi, and like many more. Now, as the primary sponsor of Indian archery, NTPC has got the title sponsorship of all the national championships and 5 prize money events, including 4 national ranking archery tournaments and a final in 3 categories. This is Archery Association of India extends tie-up with NTPC for next 3 years. So NTPC will continue supporting it. Present agreement is up to November 2024, and I am sure NTPC have contributed a lot. Government of India also recognize NTPC efforts in this special focused field, and this partnership will continue. Deepika Kumari reclaims world #1 ranking after a hat-trick of gold medals at Archery World Cup Stage 3. So Deepika Kumari is outcome of NTPC's sponsorship of this event. Deepika Kumari is an Indian professional archer. She won a gold medal as early as 2010 and is doing exceedingly well. She in fact received many awards. She hails from Ranchi, and her father is auto rickshaw driver. Just visualize the scenario. His father is auto rickshaw driver and mother is a nurse in Ranchi Medical College. So from such a family, international superstar is born. Recipient of Arjun Khel Ratna Award, FICCI Sports Person of the Year, Young Achievers Award, and Padma Shri Awards, and a lot many to her credit. Now, this is another fantastic move by NTPC. It started just 2 years back. Every year, every station of NTPC picks up from rural schools, not our own school, but from rural schools, boys and girls from class 6th to class 8th, means 6th, 7th, and 8th, and conducts 15 days dedicated residential, fully financed, fully supported program for overall development of them, which necessarily starts with sport, the traditional sports and activities which are very popular and accepted in vicinity of its different locations. For these efforts, this is recognized at NTPC national level. Now, NTPC Limited is an Indian statutory corporation. It spent a whopping rupees 418.87 crores in previous financial year towards CSR initiatives. which surpassed the prescribed 2% amount of rupees 278.57 crores. So that means actual investment made on CSR was 3.04%. So we have seen that 1/3 of the amount is unspent on an average at national level among top 100 CSR. But if we talk of this national Maharatna, it is already investing 1.5 times than the statutory provisions and bringing out budding sports persons and overall fantastic citizens in India. For its effort, NTPC Limited received the FICCI Jury Commendation Certificate under the category Women Empowerment for flagship CSR project Girl Empowerment Mission. So the previous picture I have shown, that's the overall event which happens every year during summer vacation at each of its location. Now, if we talk CSR as a whole, then this is NTPC was honored at the CII ITC Sustainability Award for the year 2019 in 2020 for corporate social responsibility. So CSR as a whole is a culture in NTPC since more than 3 decades, and it is doing year after year exceedingly well. Now I am summing up. There are 12,431 companies who invested in CSR last financial year. An amount of rupees 18,625 crores was invested during 2 financial years as was reported in Parliament. An amount of rupees 22,000 crores is projected for investment as being 2% of statutory provisions for ongoing financial year. That means up to March, April 21 to March 22, provision is 22,000 crores. It is a huge money. But point remains investment. Many among top 100 CSR rated companies are investing more than the statutory provisions. NTPC is not only one, there are many as well. But on a yearly basis, actual investment was 68% of statutory provisions during 5 years average. 22 out of top 100 CSR companies, they are investing in sports, as I have already shared the list. Investment in sports accounts for nearly, there are 2-3 reporting. Latest I have seen is only 2%, but the pictorial I have shown that was average 5%. So recently it is 2% only. Now CSR 2019 provisions, which I have shared, just I have summarized here, has widened the scope by including R&D, incubators, and government recognized higher education institutions. Any unspent CSR amount will have to be deposited by companies into an escrow account 30 days prior to the end of that financial year, and unspent amount can be used during next 3 years, and if not used, it will go to Government of India account. So with this background, I have some points for my perspective to be shared to this forum. Network and collaborate with 22 companies who are investing in sports to find out and learn how they are doing, what they are doing, and what we can learn from them and spread among many. Policy advocacy for utilization of unspent CSR amount of 32%. So if we talk 22,000 crores and 32% of that becomes 7,000 crores. So 7,000 crores is a huge money. We should find avenues to play a role as a sports, what I should say, entity in rising. Pursuing state government for declaring sports as mainstream instead of optional without any weightage in exams results. So it should become mainstream and it should have weightage in outcomes, results.
Sir, in fact, this was there in the policy and in the recommendation stage during the times of Rajvardhan Singh Rathore, as per the CBSE syllabus. But then on ground, I don't think so that policy has took off. And so we need to pursue even at which stage it is lying with which government and how we can take it up from there. So this is a very important point that you're mentioning.
Correct. Now, collaborating and mobilizing sport personalities seeking leadership and financial supports. I have just shown a list of 17 personalities. There are hundreds and hundreds of personalities who are extremely well, even financially, because of their role and their performance in sports. So if we attempt to bring them in and seek their involvement, we will be in a fantastic position as far as Dr. Monaji was mentioning in the beginning, mobilizing funds. So we can look towards selectively about them. And I'm very happy to see one photograph of Doctor. He shared from Dehradun today itself, na? In the group.
Yes, sir. Uttarachal tennis player.
Yes.
Yes, yes, sir. Hurriedly, because it was pasted between 10 to 7. So I thought I'll have a look later. Because that, yes, one of the international players he has mentioned today. And he will be talking. In fact, sir, we are having Dr. Sunita Godara. Dr. Sunita had invited her in the World Summit. And after that, she has been associated with us, Asian marathon runner, and very active on both on the social activities. She's having her own health and fitness trust. And she's promoting many activities in the NCR region. As a sports celebrity as well as a fitness trainer.
Great. So it's a beginning, but we should keep on looking about it, and such networks will definitely improve and strengthen our approach and contributions as well. So Dr. Anil Jaggi, he has already made a beginning. Now, study sustainability reports of, just to begin, or I will say initially, top 100 companies for identifying improvement opportunities. If this unspent money is to be spent, and a proportion of spent we can advocate, if it is going unused, instead of putting in escrow account, I feel some of the funds, since government allow, if we get our body registered under applicable provision, we can also channelize funds, and then as was being mentioned in the beginning, that sports personalities.
Vinita, it is being recorded, no? Because this is the most important line.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Post-retirement.
And sorry, sir, to interrupt you here. Actually, all CSR experts are also with us. So we would like to know the reason that there are many social entrepreneurs or NGO industry which is looking for CSR funds. They need it. And there are corporates who have unspent amount. So where there is a gap area, that how we can connect that dot, that why corporates are not connecting with the needy NGO industries or social entrepreneurs who are seeking these funds. So if anything you here would like to suggest us, or like we can help in this regard.
In fact, it's a question of credibility. If NGOs are worth, if they have fantastic credibility, and if they volunteer themselves and approach such organizations, I don't feel there will be any issue which will hold back.
Yes, yes. And sir, in one like corporate series, we just came to know there are certain corporates, they don't have like much CSR experts with them, or the people who can guide them that how to spend this CSR amount in a better way. They don't have those organizations. So like there are gap areas from the corporate side also, and there are like some certain challenges from this NGO industry also. So like we have to come up with these dots basically, that how we can connect both ways.
In fact, if we talk, say 12,000 plus organizations, yes, there will be thousands and thousands like that. But if we talk about top 100, there may not be, because as per policy provisions, CSR board level subcommittee is to be in place.
Yes, sir.
To
Yes.
define policy, budget allocation, and monitor periodically to ensure that provisions made are well spent. If not spent, they are to make a statement in annual report of organization on financial year basis, along with financial statement, reasons for not using CSR provisions. So if we want to identify, say, among top 100, who are the organizations and what are the reasons they have not identified, we can refer to these reports. So that's why I was referring in above point that these 100 companies sustainability report, if we study, we will come to know a lot of things.
In fact, Sushil Kumar sir, I would also suggest that parallelly study of sustainability reports, maybe, we can rope in masters in social work students and at least, go by these studies being done by them, and then we could analyze them as experts in the sector. Simultaneously, we also need to work closely with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Where exactly are the glitches in terms of, the MCA guidelines, the CSR forms, the information that is displayed on the website, CSR information which is available in the public domain, CSR policy implementation, and where exactly is the requirement? Because we are talking of a CSR committee in place, but 2, 3 or handful of organizations where I have witnessed, they have a CSR head per se, but they do not have a CSR structure as outlined in the provisions under the Act. So there are many intricacies that we still need to look into, and a close dialogue with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs if we have to move ahead as a formal body and look into all these issues simultaneously, and a core group, the CSR wing of the sports collaborative. So there would be, a lot of work that needs to be done. And rightly, as you said, sir, these are not food of thoughts. This requires a research and development wing to be established for the sports collaborative, which can really take up these things in the right perspective. And so beautifully and in such in-depth manner, the way you have brought it out. So, sir, we are very thankful to you for putting things into perspective so well, as good as a start to establishment of a formal CSR wing. One of the points that you mentioned, that supporting technical institutions, research organizations, IITs and other research bodies. So Nilesh Cholkarji, if we could have a discussion around whether, we could look into our constitution and the way we would want to move ahead with the TSC in terms of becoming a technical resource group and registering ourselves as well as the CSR wing of the sports collaborative to work very closely with the corporate sector. Because, sir, whatever you have talked about NTPC being, one of the Navratna companies, I have worked for 5 years with Gas Authority of India Limited for the integrated community development programs in more than 5 villages in Vadodara. Right from working on their, because there they have to focus on wherever the gas pipeline is passing through under their sub-plan and tribal sub-plan. So was appointed there as a part of the faculty from MS University of Baroda. Sir, why can't we have this model being followed for other public sector companies? Why does only an NTPC or a GAIL India Limited or ONGC do it alone? Government is there, Ministry of Corporate Affairs is there, a group like advocacy group like ours is there. So why can't, when we are talking about leaving no one behind and an open door policy with the government, we need to say that this is a model, it needs replication. So why not standard instructions to all the PSUs? They may begin at their own comfort level or with their own governance and structures, but this is a model worth following. If NTPC can do it and ONGC, what are the areas or what are the bottlenecks for other public sector companies? Same way we look into 22 together. If they have been able to come forward and if there is documented results, then we have the guideline, to work very closely with the other corporate sectors. And as Dr. Sunita rightly pointed out, why they are not having the credentials that are required or why there is a gap. So I feel whatever is the gap that the sports collaborative should be able to bridge, rather than coming up with a further question, these gaps exist, we know reasons are many. I am an NGO and I'm comfortable with my 2 women empowerment programs and 1 program on health and education. I am comfortable in getting my 2% amount, XYZ amount, company is comfortable in giving it. There is a transaction relationship, give and take, and it's all done. So in that done, everything is finished.
Yes,
so we really how to, so I understand Dr. Sunita's sentiments and how we want to take it up ahead. But sir, again, moving from the seriousness and the perspective of the national campaign that we are looking on and the kind of resources this 100 group has, so there is a lot of potential. And the last 1 hour, which has been sent so beautifully by you in, just putting up the background in context, the data intensive slides that you have shared with us. There is a lot of room, sir, in establishing a very strong business case for CSR. And sir, we will be sitting together with you. And sir, you will be our advisor for guiding the CSR wing along with Mr. Badlani, Dr. Adil Firoz, and many people who have not been able to join at this point in time. Mr. Satish Kumar Sahane is there. And sir, out of 120 people are there with us. I am receiving 3 calls from, people saying, Mona, we are there with you wherever you need support. So sir, we are looking forward for this kind of contributions. And sir, it is our humble request that do stay with us as an advisor to take all this 2025 slides ahead in terms of a business proposal, business case. And sir, the funds I'm sure will follow with the sponsorships and the partners. This I'm very hopeful given the kind of enterprising resources and people that we have in the group. So I just stopped myself. Business of business is business. We started at 7, it is 8:20. A quick round of concluding remarks from our stalwarts directly as perceived and thought by them. We have 11 participants. I have completed my remarks. Very big thank you to Sushil Kumar Sharma. And we begin with Mr. Badlani, concluding remarks and final vote of thanks from Dr. Sunita.
Madam, I will take a minute. Just
please.
2 more points. There are 2 more points.
Okay, sir.
Traditional games and sports. We should also focus on it because many of the Indian traditional games do have potential to become international. And to begin with, in rural area, if we promote only international events, then parents are not interested. Parents will support Indian traditional games and sports. They may be illiterate, but in some days they must have also played and knows the importance.
Sir, just hold on now here because it makes sense to just hit the hot iron rod that is there. So we have Mr. Nilesh Cholkar, who is now coming up with a sports academy, basically for reviving the traditional Indian games, and the institute would be in the name of Langdi, though they would be having multi-sports. And the sports academy would be promoting various other sports, including martial arts, etc. And through Prabha Foundation as their NGO. But this point is very well taken up and addressed by one of the members. Nilesh Cholkarji, if you could further and add on to the comments of point number 6, because this is very well being addressed by one of the members and who would again take up the advocacy initiative required with reference to point number 6 in the food for thoughts.
That's great. And the last one is for we all, launching digital platform of TSC India.
Yes, sir. This is now on the offing. We have just formed the platform. Now we have to take it digital, sir. Digital and with a human frontier. We have Anar Roopji who will be guiding us in this. Dr. Sunita will agree because they are having this Mera Adhikar platform. So this will really help us, sir. Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation.
And finally, thank you from my side.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
It was really a nice presentation and lots of insight and food for thought.
Let us give a big hand and put our cameras on as a mark of respect.
It's
and
very nicely articulated and presented.
Great, actually. Very nice. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
A lot of motivation for and food for thought. We have to see. Thank you.
All our funding can be through CSR, I think.
Nilesh, we can have a new concluding remarks one by one after this beautiful presentation, how best we can now align and sync our efforts because Dr. Sunita, now we are looking for the formal launch of the sports collaborative very shortly as soon as the government personnel are free. But before that, I would request that we have at least 1 or 2 brainstorming sessions with reference to the structure. And so far, we have been able to come ahead with 2 clear wings being established, one during the event, because sir, now we are having with more than 17 to 18 women amongst the 100. And with the recent joinee, Miss Santi, she is both a sports person as well as an artist, around 20 women in the group itself. So a women's wing will be exclusively addressing the women-centric issues within the sports ecosystem. And the other important vertical, because we are all, sir, by and large in the domain and working space of CSR and sustainability. So the common ground would be working on these 2 verticals in the time to come. And maybe after April or maybe the National Sports Day, we can think on adding other verticals. Now moving back and forth comes basic discussion on the constitutions, the objectives, and in what way we would like to give the form and shape to the sports collaborative, beginning from the digital platform. So a quick round of discussions, concluding remarks from all the participants, and a final word from Dr. Sunita.
Here, Mona, we would like to, yes, request everyone here, kindly just post these recommendations and suggestions on your LinkedIn, on your Facebook,
Yes,
so that we can connect to the corporate sector in a right manner.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
LinkedIn, we need to have a page now for the sports collaborative. And since Sunita, I am managing the Facebook page, together we can float the page and all the members would be active on that. So,
Yes,
all of us would be connected, because LinkedIn, we cannot keep on bombarding that we have so many programs, but whenever we are putting things in perspective once in a while, so the community is, very clearly connected through LinkedIn, and all the other members, 100 of us who may not be there in this session, but who are tracking us and following us on LinkedIn becomes very important. And I was waiting that at least, once it is still in the pre-launch stage. So once we have the formal launch, the digital platform, as well as exploring our networks, both on LinkedIn, as well as the constitutional framework, is a must before we move ahead, because as soon as we move to government, they will ask for the documents, the proposals, where is the business case, what are we trying to do, who are the people, their profile, the brochure, the constitution, everything has to be in place. And with this, we will have the discussion and a brainstorming session, which will basically be administrative in nature. We can extend an open invitation to all the members, but we would want as many as 12 to 15 very active members who would be able to give advisory inputs, and other advisory suggestions could be sought at one-to-one level with the respected members. So sir, concluding remarks we can have from everybody, 11 participants, and we can close this session for today, and then we can get in touch with each one-to-one. Badlani sir is senior hai, Satish Kumar sir hai, so we can begin a round of quick discussions, and as we close this session, sir. Badlani sir, can we have your quick concluding remarks, observations, any suggestions?
Yeah, I think it is the presentation was done very nicely. Articulation was excellent, and food for thought is given for us to motivate further and to fulfill our objective. A lot of solutions are also given. It's very nice. We can take on this path, and collaboratively we achieve our objective.
Yes,
it's a very, very broadly it was covered every aspect of our objective.
Yes, all our concerns were taken care of. Sanjay sir, just one request, if you could, or maybe even on WhatsApp or on mail, if you could just send the takeaways from the presentation, because we are establishing, this was a presentation on business case for CSR and investment in sports. Our feedback and the kind of responses that we are now addressing in the forum, which would then be, just lying in the recording. We want that, your suggestions come with your name and the feedback for the sessions and inputs required to take this ahead, so that formally we can go ahead with preparing the proposal. And then again, sir, Sushil Kumar Sharma, yourself and others, senior leaders would be instrumental in guiding this. And of course, we would be there at the ground level, doing forward linkages wherever required through whole body decisions. Myself, Dr. Sunita, Dr. Jaggi, Devendra Arora, Sanjeev Kapoorji. There are 10 people at the the level, sir, who will match the energy. We need the guidance and the direction from senior leaders like you, sir. So we are assuring that we will be able to take this up ahead in the right perspective, and many other people who may not be there at this point in time with the collaborative, but who can be approached to sort the, to get their advice and other inputs.
Yeah, definitely we can share on the WhatsApp.
I think that could be a great idea,
Like Nileshji, your quick comments. Sir, unmute yourself. Yes.
Actually, what Sushil Kumar sir has said is a good information that 2% of the profit of the should be meant for social development, and 32% is not spent. So that 30% is a very big amount. And if we can garner all these funds, and we can help the NGOs who are in this sports and other social developments. So our platform will be certainly a platform where all the others who have no access to government or who have no access to the companies directly, we can be an intermediary for all those sports persons and social organizations. So excellent presentation and excellent information. Very relevant information has been shared by Sushil Kumar sir, and we are really great. It will be a good part of our constitution.
Very right. In fact, Sushil Kumar ji, when we are having a discussion with the sports government authority of Gujarat, I am directly going to take up, the CSR wing ahead first, because me being a CSR advocate, women's wing hota rahega. We have as many as 3 women here itself. So women's wing will follow. It is a women-led development that I'm more interested in. And with myself and Dr. Sunita, I would try to, just put the horse before the, the cart before the horse, and would take up the CSR agenda first, followed by the women's wing, because we are certainly, going to take care of the larger perspective of diversity, inclusion, working for the girl child. But then we need to tap on the funds, and we need to be advocates to draw the corporate sector investment and CSR as a game changer, because there is a lot of potential to address the SDGs. Sir, we have not touched on this dimensions very closely. As you said, the document can be referred, but our poverty ki baat kariye, sports can address it. Communities mein there are differences in the caste, class, community networks. You have a cricket match, it is resolved. So it is, one multi-dimensional tool which addresses majority of your sustainable development goals and priorities and concerns. And as you said, whether it is biodiversity, life on land, life on water, even like UPL is having wonderful programs for environment conservation. Saras conservation, unka hai, flamingos and other, species which are dying. So whether it is environment, whether it is people, communities, and if we break down the sustainable development goals, ultimately it is people, industries, and planet as a whole. If we try to club the sustainable development goals. And so that is where we are talking about people, planet, and prosperity at large. With this wonderful team and other stalwarts in the area of CSR, I would request that the CSR wing, becomes active not only as advisory and consulting and training, but to be a very strong, partnership agency for all the technical advisory that is required, not only for government of Gujarat, but across India. And then we have the state-wise chapters where whosoever is there in the group can again, proceed ahead with activating their wings wheresoever they are working. So, sir, very thankful to you for in-depth discussions and very pointed remarks that has been made during, and of course endorsing it ahead later. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes, Madanji, anything from your side?
Madanji is there.
Yeah, see, my views, I usually hold it. You see, like I agree with the Mr. Nilesh with respect to 32% amount left unspent. And if you're looking at NGOs, somebody rightfully said the credibility of an NGO need to be first understood before this amount can be given to that person.
That is true.
Right. Because see, if this amount is not spent for the right cause, then it goes haywire. Right. And Bhakti, like you can see, like what you have rightly said, like if you can put our suggestions on a LinkedIn page or on a WhatsApp, it'll be of great value, because then you are at peace with yourself, and then you want to add something of value. Maybe you are in some forum or the other where you acquire some new knowledge vis-a-vis the sports sector, vis-a-vis the CSR and other things. Okay, there are many people around the place who are willing to spend for such initiatives, and that can be highlighted immediately on the WhatsApp or on the LinkedIn page.
Yes, here I just would like to add one more point, that 68% also which companies are spending on different. So
Yes.
education and healthcare is just getting maximum amount from there. Yes, we suggested to the corporate sector also in this HR conference that give every indicator some good CSR amount. It must not be that only 2 and 3 indicators are getting all CSR amount and rest are just seeking that how and what to do with them. So this is a humble submission to all the corporate house that they have to give CSR funds wisely to every indicator of SDG or of other social concern issues. So this also we need to address.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely correct, ma'am.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's about it, ma'am.
Yes. Okay.
We request, these suggestions that are coming up in the very right perspective, be sent to us. Even the verbatim can be quoted. And Sanjana, here you will have to play a role, because it is said, done and forgotten, but what is documented, preserved, will not be perished. So again, I am there keeping, the task and the timekeeper for everything. But we want, sir, Madan sir, we would want your very active role in the advisory wing that we are soon to form. And we are just taking a formal consent here. Sir, we are having with us Nilesh Chalkarji in the CSR wing. Mr. Madan sir, we will be having you in the wing. Sanjay Badlani sir, with your formal consent later, but informal consent now. Sanjay Badlani sir, and any other persons who would like to, share expressions of interest while they are making their concluding remarks, apart from me and Dr. Sunita, who will be working behind it. So we would need a group of people apart from Sushil Kumar Sharma sir, who would be guiding us to take this ahead. And we would have to work on, preparing the documents required. Because if we were to make a presentation before Government of Gujarat, we can very closely work with GCSRA, Gujarat CSR Authority. So again, one presentation that we need to make, and whatever makes sense to us in a group of 8 individuals here would definitely make sense to a group of government individuals. All that we need to do is just bridge the gap and then start working at the state level. So again, seeing would be believing, and I think so we just cannot keep requesting people to come forward, join us. We need to move ahead with the 5-10 people who are available with us. As we start working, there would be a lot of room for people to associate. And as Mr. Madan and others in the beginning pointed out, credibility is very important. Whenever you are credible as a person, institution, or as a group, then the resources and the people and the institutions, whether it is for funding, whether it is for advocacy, required is bound to follow or support you. So I have this conviction both in myself, in the work, and with the kind of support that we are getting at every stage, be it a talk like this or the kind of participation. 11 is just a number, but the kind of points that has come in the in the forum, it is like Mahatma Gandhi's quote, in a gentle way, you can shake the world. So this presentation has that kind of potential. But again, as I said, it is citizen-led, advocacy-driven. So this advocacy is required when we have a meeting with the government, and at whenever, part of the day or time it is, it would be at a very short notice. This I'm sharing informally. Just be prepared, if something has to be put aside. क्योंकि वो बोलेंगे this day is convenient, can you just get in touch with your group. फिर उस time ऐसा होगा कि यही लोग मिले थे, इन्होंने ही कर दिया presentation. ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहिए. We want our best people to be there when the presentation to Government of Gujarat is being made. When it will be made and how soon it will be made, that will be my responsibility. So again, with this view, words and conviction, we will be coming back to you off and on again on the developments. And I will request Ujjwal Banga and other people in the forum to, share their concluding remarks, and we quickly wind up.
Well, thank you, Dr. Mona. I mean, it's a really great opportunity actually to meet together all the great brains.
And thank you, Ujjwal, for joining all the way from London. So we are having almost from 11, sir. Beauty of it is we are having 3 international participants, Badlani sir, Sahane sir, and Ujjwal, 2 from US and 1 from London. And hats off to the participation.
Yes, Parinji is also there, right?
Parinji from London. So yes. 2 from US, 2 from London. Great.
We are balancing.
Yes.
Yes, Ujjwal, please.
Yeah, I mean, I was just talking about that great brains are at the moment we are, and we can really change a lot. Let's not wait for if somebody can come, join us and make this happen. Thank you so much for actually giving us the opportunity to join actually.
Very good. We look forward.
Thank you, Mr. Ujjwal. In fact, my son and daughter both are in London.
Oh, great. Maybe to give me their numbers, if we can meet, and then we can actually all together, we can help.
I will share the number. Yeah, I will share sir's number, and then you can have a dialogue. And Parin Makadia ji, because ultimately partnership, networking, if we have a small network, within London group or maybe associated, then it will help in a nice way, even informal interactions over the presentations. So sir ke bacche bhi hain, and Parin Makadia ji is also there. So both the numbers I'll put across to you, Ujjwal, and you can be.
Please.
Parin really Makadia, nice. Sir, we can have your suggestions and followed by senior person like Satish sir.
Yeah,
Parin Makadia ji.
For the invitation. It was nice to learn more about sports.
Sir, you are our mentor and torch bearer. The torch is with you.
No, I'm not that great. Maybe I need to learn a lot.
You are a taskmaster, sir.
As far as sports and CSR activities in India is concerned, I need to learn a lot. So maybe I did my part of learning. So maybe I'll not, everybody has praised the presentation and it was really, really good. It was nice learning experience for me. And I am trying to figure out how can I passively contribute, because I'm a bit short on time.
Yeah, Parinji, in fact, Sunita will
I can contribute without spending time.
Sir, in fact, Sunita will agree with me, Dr. Sunita. Sir, you are working on integrating the SDGs and, you know, the business purpose and business vision, helping them align with the SDGs. Just take it up, sports as a catalyst to align the SDGs. How it will be able to align? There is a very clear-cut document, sports and sustainable development goals by the United Nations itself. And we can sit over a Zoom meeting and establish a very strong link. Instead of establishing gender empowerment and poverty and hunger and, you know, malnutrition through the ICDS, we just talk about sports, and it caters to all the dimensions of 15 SDG goals, 16th and 17th being building the institutions and partnership for the goals. And this body, I'm very confident, has started from the 17th goal, which is partnership for the goals. How? एक एक दो दो तीन तीन नहीं करना है, एक ऐसी चीज से करना है जिससे सब कुछ एक साथ हो जाए. And that is what we are actually doing when we have identified sports as one of the major areas or a catalyst. And this has not been, you know, by design or by choice. This is by the kind of background that we are into and the kind of works people are doing. Myself and Dr. Sunita being SPA advisors, Sports Authority Association of India, Sunita being also the chairperson for Pharma Academy, running lot many sports program, and also the kind of networks we have. Dr. Sanjeev Kapoor being, you know, the chief editor for the Sports Grail, which is again a media company, you know, electronic media, which is covering sports activities and all the sporting events across the world. So it is by God's design, but the design we need to take ahead in terms of the actual philosophy. It is not the UN philosophy or Antonio Guterres alone, leaving no one behind. It is also the Indian philosophy of reaching to the Antyodaya, last unto the last person. So whether it is our own scriptures and religion or the United Nations sitting on 193 countries and saying that you need to do this. So we have a very strong conviction with the kind of, sustainability accreditations that you're giving and with the kind of trainings that are aligned for business with SDGs, sports would be a catalyst, which would be, you know, one panacea for all odds and, you know, one vaccine that is there taking care of all the illnesses. So we will work, sir, very strongly together, and you have a lot to contribute, sir, in terms of constructive contributions.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope I can do something.
Yes, sir, certainly. Satish
Kumar, sir, just I will share one thing.
Yeah.
Here in India, Quality Circle Forum of India is a national body at Hyderabad.
Yeah.
In fact, they have taken one of my topic, and the program is being organized on 30th of March. Topic is delighting stakeholders through deploying ESG.
Okay.
So ESG is another terminology only for SDGs.
Yeah.
A national level program which will be joined by 36 state and union territories level their bodies. So I will be doing 1.5 hour sharing first and then followed by panel discussion.
Very good, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
I will share the link.
One thing which comes to my mind is, I live in Aberdeen, Scotland. So, which is the northern part of UK.
I am aware, sir.
So, now, one thing had been my heart and mind to promote Indian traditional sport.
Great.
Or to develop Indian traditional sport in Aberdeen. So, that is what I'll contribute, maybe today or maybe in 1 year time. So maybe my contribution to your activities in India may be zero, but maybe I'll do something on your lines and I'll extend whatsoever thing I learned from here to implement it somewhere over here locally in Aberdeen. So the Scottish starts playing Indian games rather than that is what we want, correct?
Yes, sir. And in fact, sir, the first slide that had come by Sushil
maybe
Sharma, listing of those traditional sports itself was just wonderful. वो कंचे वंचे लंगड़ी देखकर और वो गुलेल देखकर सब मजा आ गया. So that was just really good. And in fact, we are having at the local level revival of traditional arts already into place. Nilesh Cholkar ji as a sports entrepreneur, he's coming up with his own sports academy. And Pareen Makadia sir, you can also be in touch with Nilesh ji, since he's working on the very concept of reviving traditional Indian sports, rural
definitely.
sports.
Definitely, that's the plan. Maybe most probably we'll have something in Aberdeen where I live. Some Indian sports game, some day or something, we'll come up with it. People love Indian food. So,
and sir, Ujjwal is there around, so he's an
Scottish and British love Indian food.
We'll
So maybe we'll serve them a free food, and that will be an attraction for them to come and join our sports.
Great, sir.
So you will be marketing the Indian food as well, parallelly.
Yeah, thing is, I don't have to market it. It means it's basically their staple food. Maybe at least one time in three meal, the British people have Indian curry. So I don't have to do anything. Everything has been done by someone else.
Great, sir.
Great, sir. Sir, can we have words from Satish Kumar, sir, please?
Thank you very much. मेरा सोचना है कि हम जो ये आज कर रहे हैं, इसमें देखिए भारत जो देश है इतना महान है, इसकी कितनी संस्कृति जो है महान है. तो हर एक फेस्टिवल के साथ गेम्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स, इवन मैं पढ़ रहा था अभी कुछ दिन पहले ही इसके अंदर आया था कि हमारे पूर्वज भी जो ट्रेडिशनल वे से कैसे तीरंदाजी और ये महाभारत में जैसे बताया, तो हमारे जो ट्रेडिशनल गेम्स एंड स्पोर्ट्स हैं वो इंडिजिनस गेम्स जिसमें टोटल इन्वॉल्वमेंट कम्युनिटी का होता है, उसको भी जोड़ना है. एक है कॉम्पिटिटिव स्पोर्ट्स जिसकी हम बात करते हैं, क्रिकेट या और भी कुछ है, लेकिन जो इंडिजिनस गेम है वो स्पिरिट ऑफ वननेस लाएगी. तो उस पर भी हमें बहुत ध्यान देना है. यानी दो तरफ से चलेंगे, एक जर्नल फिटनेस, इंडिजिनस गेम्स और इस तरह के ट्रेडिशनल वैल्यूज वाली चीजें. दूसरा जो है वो हमारा स्पोर्ट्स एंड गेम्स, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आई थिंक ट्रेडिशनल गेम्स के ऊपर हमें ध्यान देना चाहिए ज्यादा. तो दिस इज व्हाट आई फील एंड आई विल बी देयर फॉर एनी वेयर यू नीड माय हेल्प. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Very important point. In fact, if some of you may have noticed, there was a person from Rainbow Academy, and he had put up a message yesterday. किस तरह से वो जैसे ये अपना है पांचों पांडव में जैसे अर्जुन for archery and then Bhim with the Gada. How with the indigenous in our own religion and scriptures, how we are having this importance of indigenous sports. And sir, it is very important in whatever way, because आज ही एक मैंने float नहीं करा, I was just sharing informally with the group. नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने बात करी है कि हमारे संस्कारों में होना चाहिए. If we are not orientation is not there as teachers or as adults, as parents towards sports, तो वो बच्चों में नहीं आएगी. So again, जब तक वो संस्कारों में नहीं होगा तब तक नहीं आएगा. And that is where the concept of Gurukul and the practices in the Gurukul and the traditional sports, and that is what he has talked about. But since in that poster in the name Narendra, A was missing, that was the reason I had to call back to the sports department and saying that this is a very good post, but we want to float it across and kindly make this correction. So I will be putting it across today, irrespective of the correction being made or not, where Narendra Modi ji has very rightly talked about the point that Mr. Sahane is making. So this is very important. And sports, sir, also I put it in the perspective of disaster, sir. आप COVID pandemic देख लीजिए, sir, कितना emotional, resilient and mental health issues that are arising. And of sports, indoor sports or a game like board game like Carom, that gives us so much of relief. So again, these are, if we look into and start debating the issues, it would be mushrooming ideas and suggestions that are there. We are talking of building, emotional resilient communities, emotional resilient organizations, but where is the resilience going to come when there is stress, when there is depression, when there is anxiety, wherein there are nuclear families and people are staying in the hostels, not even having a get together over a meal 2 times of the day. So these are larger issues of mental and psychological and spiritual question that we are talking about. But this point is very well taken in terms of not only focus on the competitive sports, but indigenous sports, And sir, I think so this suggestion जो आप बता रहे हैं उसको थोड़ा सा articulate करके, if you can just put it across on WhatsApp, the way it just comes, we will take it ahead, sir, as it is, and put it up in the policy level, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
What I feel is when we talk about sustainable development goals, in that we have to see the totality of population and universal happiness through sports. So there traditional sports play a greater role than competitive sports. So traditional sports को तो बिल्कुल ही इसमें जोड़ना है. So then only we can think of general happiness and sustainable development goals fulfillment. जैसे आपने कहा कि ये जो वैक्सीन है एक किस्म की जो स्पोर्ट्स है फॉर जनरल हैप्पीनेस अराउंड द पॉपुलेशन. तो इसमें बहुत जरूरी है कि हमारे जो ट्रेडिशनल आर्ट एंड कल्चर एंड इंडिजिनस वे ऑफ लाइफ है उसको जोड़ के चलेंगे तो मेरे ख्याल ये ज्यादा डेप्थ तक जाएगा हमारा जो पर्पस है. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
Very true, sir. In fact, SDGs focus in sports would be towards, because the transformation that we are talking about, social change and social transformation, would be only when we are having a generic perspective, rather than just moving towards international sporting events or, our Olympic aspirations per se. So very rightly, both the suggestions will be put up primarily by me in the right perspective. And sir, let it come through, quote unquote form directly from you so that we can elaborate it further. Thank you so much, sir, for this concrete suggestions.
Yes, I think Mona, we're done with all. Yes, anyone else? Anything left?
Listen the youngest mind, sage keeping silent.
Sanjana is there?
Yes.
Yes.
Sanjana, yeah.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
You have been listening very attentively and all. We can have the last observations or comments, anything that you would like to share. And of course, I believe, at this stage, I am finding it more satisfying than any event or anything that I did today. And the satisfaction that this presentation and the interaction for the last 2 hours that has given me, I think so it is an investment made by me, lot of learning. Now, as a student, you can share what are your observations and any comments that you would like to make to the forum.
The presentation was really nice, very informative. I did not realize that almost a third of the CSR that's available to us is unused. And I think it's not more about like the money aspect of it. I think it's also important to invest in programs and organizations that work, that actually do good, productive work. I think that's very important. And I think that's what I've realized today. And I guess that's why we're here, for advocacy, so we move in the correct direction.
Just for the participants I'm sharing, sir, Sanjana would be in touch for, just follow up of all the concrete suggestions one-on-one, so that, there's a comfort level, and she would just send the message and it would be sent to her. And then of course, myself and Sunita will be sitting and compiling it together. So Sanjana Shukla would be sending you certain messages. Kindly revert back to her, because this would be very important to take this ahead further. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Dr. Mona, I just want to, last time you told me that we have a Google folder. So
Sanjana can throw light, because now see, we need, and we need committees to be formed actually. Apart from the CSR wing, certain people who will take care of the WhatsApp discussions, certain group will be taking care of the administrative structure that is required. So we will have an administrative meeting where we will, chart out these responsibilities and accountabilities. Since now it is already 9 o'clock, we will have to wind up here. But Ujjwal, your suggestions are very well taken. We had put up in the minutes of the meeting also a common Google document folder, and the database that is required. Quickly, we will, Sanjana is putting her reminders, but then again, those within the 100 people, it will at least take a week or 15 days time. No. So I think so far, nobody is leaving the group. We are not leaving anyone behind. It is a good beginning. So the 101 too has to be intact to, move ahead slowly. So once again, big thanks to all the participants, all 10, 11, 12, those who have left. Sanjeev ji had to leave because of certain reasons, but the presentation has been awesome, sir. And big salutations to you. I'm your fan, and sir, I have been your student across, though you might be having sessions on various forums, but these subjects that you have been taking sessions on, and your contributions to NTPC for last so many years, sir, is commendable. And we are very thankful to you on behalf of the Sports Collaborative. And a word of thanks from Dr. Sunita as the host and sir from Vasundhara Blessings Foundation as a president.
Yes, thank you so much, Dr. Mona. So I think all done today. This was wonderful session. We just got wonderful insights, especially food for thought from Sushil ji. And CSR is like close to our hearts. Me and Dr. Mona, we always discuss that how to work with this CSR corporate industries. And we have initiated green CSR practices also. And sport is close to our heart. We people are just promoting this Fit India, Mission Shakti and Khelo India. All these initiatives are just going on. So thank you so much, Sushil ji, for your wonderful sharing. And we are just thankful to everyone, those dignitary members who are here. Stesh ji and Ujjwal Banga ji is there, Sanjay Badlani sir, Nilesh Cholkar ji, Parin ji, Sanjana, Satish ji. Everyone, thank you so much for your gracious presence and wonderful sharing with us.
Yeah, and Sunita, we are going ahead with the announcement of the CSR wing. In the backdrop of this presentation, sir, we will try to rope in members one-on-one basis after a prior dialogue with them, sir, but you would be the common link to guide us along with support of Satish Kumar Sahane sir and Badlani sir at this stage.
Sure,
so
do it.
Yes, sir. So that would be a common link. So thank you all for joining this session. And
Thank you.
greetings again. Thank you.
so much.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.